guys, so check it out. The transmission from Germany finally came in. And like I said, guys, only a week. Took a week. I ordered it a week ago in Germany. And DHL was very quick and swift to get it to me. So in total, this transmission cost me 2,000 euros, which I don't remember the conversion factor now, but like not too far off from dollars, and that included shipping. And this one, as you can tell from right here, this one is an all-wheel drive transmission. And the way you can tell is these cut teeth. And these cut teeth go directly into the transfer case. And if you guys remember from when I was rebuilding the transmission the last time, I had this milled out. And I put in the bolts so that the transfer case would fit right there. This particular transmission came from a B7 Passat 4motion diesel. And of course it is a DSG, same exact everything. And it looks to be in pretty good shape. Obviously we got the clutch pack that comes with. And it sounds pretty good. Obviously this cooler up here got banged up a little bit. That's all right. And also, the transmission came with a mechatronic unit, which that's how you can tell. When you remove the mechatronic unit, this plug goes with it. But otherwise, I mean, it looks to be in good shape. I don't see any damage anywhere. They did ship this transmission upside down, and this right here is the little bleed port, so it was laying upside down, and all of the, as you can tell, all the boxes are covered in DSG fluid. That's okay, we'll have new DSG fluid going in anyway, but I believe this thing is ready to slap in. At least I hope. At least I hope. And yeah, I don't see any damage from the shipping. I do see this right here, if you can tell. That right there got banged up a little bit. That shouldn't be a problem. Should be able to drill this out or do something with it. Not a huge deal. But yeah, everything else here looks to be in good shape. Let's look back here. We have our driver's side there. And yeah, this is the view next to the car that it's going to be going in very soon. So yeah, I hope no major issues with this transmission. And actually I got to thinking, and I don't know if the diesel gearboxes are all that different as far as internals, as far as materials used from the gasoline counterparts. I don't know if it's worth going through all this trouble. I just wonder if it would be possible to just buy a Quattro or 4motion transmission here in the US and just slap in the diesel mechatronic. I don't know. But one thing that I do hope with this transmission is that the gears are taller. So the transmission that's currently in the Jetta right now, when you're going about 80 miles an hour or so, you're riding at about 3,000 RPM, which if we look at the gauge cluster here, you can see that 3,000 RPM is pretty high for a diesel. So I'm hoping that the gears are a little bit taller here so that if we're going 80 miles an hour, if we need to, we're saving some fuel. But if not, you know, no big deal. There's no way they can be shorter. So yeah, this is the transmission. Very impressed. Obviously it wasn't cheap, but to be honest, it was probably on par with getting a transmission here in the US anyway. So I'm very happy, very excited. And we're going to start slapping this guy in. So thank you guys for watching. The Jetta is back.
Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna dance?
As you guys have seen, the previous transmission, the bearings holding the front differential are shot essentially, so there was massive play between the two front drive shafts. So I had two options. I could either take the transmission apart for the third time or just say screw it and buy an all-wheel drive transmission. And so that's what I did. I bought one from a B7 Passat 4motion TDI from Europe. And yeah, it's on the ground behind me. I'll show you guys in a little bit. And so what you guys have seen so far is I am back to work at, preparing to remove the transmission once again. And we're going to be swapping in the new transmission today. So what I have done so far is under the hood, I went and disconnected all of the wiring harnesses to the transmission. I disconnected the power steering cables for the electric steering, removed the battery, removed the charge pipe that's going to be in the way of the bell housing bolts. And then I went down under. And down under, what I did is I removed the driver's side axle. So that was the first step. And then I removed the steering end links as well. And then also disconnected the front sway bar. And then removed the front subframe. If you guys have been watching my videos, you know that it's very difficult to remove the transmission with the subframe in. So I just wanted to do it right this time and do this as quickly and as efficiently as possible, doing it the proper way. This is what we have right here. We have basically everything removed. We have the starter removed because there's a bolt that lives behind there that attaches the transmission to the engine. And then if we look up here, we have one bolt right there, one bolt right there, one bolt right there, and then you can see another bolt right there, and it kind of goes around. There's another one bolt that kind of lives back behind there, and then a couple on the bottom as well. So I'm going to do the old cardboard trick. I'm going to draw a circle, going to draw the starter from this view, and I'm going to be plotting the bolts that I remove in that direction so that when we go back in with it, it's going to be good. Oh, and also another thing, guys, wanted to let you know, I'm sorry that I didn't upload a video. The reason for that is I started a new job, and for the last 2.5 years, ever since COVID, I've been working from home, and this job requires me to go to the office. So quite an adjustment there. Long days compared to what I used to have, as many of you guys might know.
Not to mention, the drive to work is an hour, the drive from work is about an hour too. So lots of stuff. And so I've decided to do small projects in the evenings when I can, but do the bulk of the work for you guys, content creation, on the weekends. So that's exactly what we're doing. It is a Saturday right now, and I am just about ready to have this Jetta finished up and sent down the road. These are all of the parts that I removed. That's the battery tray, the battery, the air filter, the charge pipe, the starter, and then moving on to the front subframe. Not very often that you see the top view of the subframe, but essentially there's 3 bolts on each side. One right there, 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 and one right there. All 18mm bolts that bolt to the body. This is the front anti-sway bar that I've removed in a previous video. And also another thing, when you're getting ready to take this out, obviously you got to take the lower control arm bolts out from the hub. Also have to remove the sway bar end link and the steering end link on each side as well as jumping into the interior and undoing a 13mm steering shaft connection. And then beyond that, it's out. I mean, I used the jack to lower it down. Again, not the first time that I've done it. But yeah, so now if we look down under, we can see that the transmission is getting ready to be pulled out. These are all of the wiring that I disconnected, liberated it from the transmission. The last thing I'm going to have to do is again remove that shifter cable. That shifter cable has 2 triple squares that's going to have to come out. And then once that's out, we are pretty much ready to start getting to work, actually pulling this transmission down. And so, once again, as before, I'm going to hook up the cross bar, the holder bar, attach it to the engine, and get it across the engine bay, and then support it and begin removing the transmission support mount bolts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the engine and transmission combo down, tilt it down, so that we can actually pull the transmission out and out under the car. And yeah, at that point it should be liberated. And so if we come here, one thing we're going to do, you guys might remember how difficult it was to remove the transfer case from this transmission. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the transfer case out of the car, just like the very first time we put the transmission in. I'm going to install it out of the car, put it up on the transmission jack, and begin to bring the transmission up. Let's continue this. I'm going to remove the shifter cable, and I'm going to begin working on these top bolts here, loosen them up at least, and then support the engine, remove the rest of the bolts, and be ready to drop it. So again, I'm going to put you guys on time lapse, and let's do it. guys, well here we are. We finally took out the transmission. So I started this at 9 a.m. and it is now 11:30, so 2.5 hours to get everything out. Not too bad, I don't think. I mean, I'm not a professional, but not trying to toot my own horn, but that was pretty quick. But here we are. Here are the two transmissions oriented the same way. And let me show you guys right off the bat. If you remember, I took out this seal here. That seal exists on this transmission, but look at this. You see that? That is very bad. Look, I am pushing it as much as I can and there's no movement there. So that is a very good sign. Let's compare. Okay, let's see. Definitely some more movement. Okay. All right, well, let's take a look at the next thing. So I had this piece machined, essentially flattened out along with these bolts to be able to mount the transfer case, and let's see how it's done from the factory. So it looks basically the same. I mean, if you look, this entire surface here, these guys didn't quite go as far, but still very, very close. And yeah, so very similar story on these two. The top here, the only difference I'm seeing is this grounding bolt is on this bolt, and in my car it's here. I'm guessing, you know, they took this off and forgot where the bolts go. Not a big deal. Let's move around to the other side. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you guys is the driver's side axle. I don't think you can see it very well, but this guy is moving around quite a bit as well. If we look at this one, it is very stout. So that's good. Yeah guys, I'm really hoping that this transmission is good. I would hate, and there's no way for me to test it outside of the car. I mean, I'm just doing a visual inspection, making sure all of the pieces are in the right place. So it would really be a shame if I put this guy in and it's still, you know, there's something wrong with it. What do we got to do? So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap these two bolts over, swap this cable over, swap this cooler over, take the shifter linkage assembly off, replace this damaged component. If you can see, this guy's supposed to be straight. This one is bent, probably in shipping it happened. So once we swap all of that over, swap the cooler over, swap that little thing over, then I'm going to take the new transmission, put it on the jack, secure it, and install the new transfer case we got for it, and get ready to put this back in. Alright guys, put you guys on time lapse again. Let's swap over the parts and get ready to slap the new transmission back in. suppose it's the moment of truth. We're about to start it up. We're about to put the car in gear. We're about to see if this European transmission is any good. So once again, guys, I really hope that this works out. I'm tired of removing and installing these transmissions. Man, it's bothering me. But again, we took a look together and it seemed that everything is okay with the transmission. No leaks, no wobbling anywhere, at least that I could see. So right now what we have is the transmission is in, the battery's in, everything under the hood is done. Once again, the transmission is in, the subframe is in, the axles are not in. Just because they're kind of a pain to put on, so I'm gonna save this for later, assuming that everything goes well. If not, then at least that's one thing less to take out. And since then, what I've done is I've filled up the transmission with new, fresh DSG fluid, and it seems to have taken everything so far. And so, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna jump in together, start the car, see what it does. We're gonna hook up BCDS and see what happens. So yeah, once again, guys, this is the car in the current state. As you can tell, everything under the hood is assembled, the battery is connected, we are all good there. And then down here we have the transmission and a view of the driver's side axle flange. Once again, we don't have the axles in. And then down here at the bottom you can see my fluid is ready to go. And I still have it hooked up. And the reason for that is in case anything spills, I could just add some more. Not a huge deal. So yeah, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Alright guys, well, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Alright guys, so we're back. We have everything connected and updated. So let's go into our transmission, look for any fault codes. Missing message from electric parking brake controller. Uh-oh. Maybe the Passat had that. I don't know. Alright, let's see. I think we need to go to measuring blocks, maybe. Alright, so we have that. Alright, I haven't even shifted into reverse or anything, so let's do that right now. I can't tell what's going on. Alright, we'll leave it in reverse, we'll check it out. Hey, we got reverse! Awesome. Alright, so far so good. Let's see the next gear. So guys, if you remember the last time I put in the transmission, this little area right there had a little wrench, meaning that there was a problem. We don't have that right now. Okay, so let's check out the gears. It shifted by itself just fine, so let's downshift. That's fourth. Can't even tell that it's shifting. Alright, well, downshifted by itself to 1. Okay. Okay. Well, now it doesn't want to shift. All right, well, that's good. Oh. That didn't sound good. That was park. Oh, you know why? Because transmission doesn't have any brakes, so it's having to find it. Well, I would say that that is pretty fantastic. Seems that everything is shifting, no noises whatsoever at all. And I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check the temperature. Make sure it's up to temp. Actually, we got transmission output speed as well. We might as well check that. Alright. We have transmission output speed. That's good. Engine torque. Actual pressure. So it's shifting, which means that there is a clutch pack. So I'm very happy about that. Let's see, travel distance, temperature. I'm gonna have to look up and see what the operating temp is of this gearbox. But yeah, guys, very pleased, very happy with what we got. So this means that we can go ahead and put on the axles, take it for a test drive.